What's up, everybody? Welcome to another movie review. Yes, it is Scream 5. I'm a little late than I wanted to be. The movie's been out for some time already, so it will be a spoiler review and my take and my feelings on Scream 5. And before I start, I will say I do have a new YouTube channel, Elroy's Collectibles. If you see my videos in this channel, you'll notice there are videos missing because I have like vlog number 23 and then what are the other videos before that. And so basically I deleted those videos, which were me showcasing my trading cards and stuff like that. But I wanted to separate that stuff into another channel, which is Elroy's Collectibles. It'll be pop figures, more trading card openings like Pokemon and all that. So this channel will just specifically be on my short films and movie reviews, and from here and there I'll probably post up some video games that I've been recording just to keep my channel active and alive. But yeah, let's shoot into that. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, and if you like trading cards and you like action figures and you like just collectibles and videos like that, check out Elroy's Collectibles, subscribe to that and hit that notification as well. So thank you, and let us begin with Scream 5. And I will say I did enjoy Scream 5. I thought it was cool. It just keeps going, with the whole idea of who's the killer. Like, who doesn't love that? And it kept me changing up who I thought were the killers. Now, I really thought it was going to be one killer this time for some reason, and it's always two killers, but for some reason I thought it was going to be one killer. And my initial thought of the killer before I saw the movie, just based on the trailers and the poster, I initially chose Jack Quaid as the killer. I just figured, yeah, he looks like he can be the killer. For some reason, it was between him and the character Wes with the blonde hair. It was between one of them. But I was really on Jack Quaid until watching the movie. I'm like, I guess he's not the killer, and I should have known better. That's what they do. It always twists on you, and it's like he was the killer. And not only that, Mikey Madison, who played the other killer, I guess that was also his girlfriend. I suspected her also because she was just a little too quiet and whatnot, but they just played it off well when she was, especially in the basement with Randy's niece, and they were like, "What if you're the killer?" and whatnot. So to each other. So I was like, it's too obvious perhaps, and she ended up being the second killer or the first killer, and then they showed Jack Quaid, excuse me, the actor, as being the killer too. So I really enjoyed it. I really liked the whole meta talk of it. Requel, the term, I understood what it was. I felt like they were just a little lingering on that point for too long. To explain what a requel is, I think it's just pretty self-explanatory. A reboot of the franchise by continuing the movie based off of past elements especially, but it's still considered a sequel because it's not taking away what happened before. And I thought in the fourth Scream that they did that already, that term requel, or it might have been something else along the lines, but I'm pretty sure they explained that already. So if they did it, it must have been just a different idea, concept, which I'm pretty sure it was, because why would they retread those terms? I have to see it again. I've probably seen it like twice, but I did enjoy Scream 4, and I felt like they were picking on Scream 4 in the film and Scream 5, and I'm like, nah, Scream 4 was pretty cool. Just the third one was the one that was trash. I did see it recently again, and I appreciated it more, but it's still the bottom of my list for Scream films. But other than that, like a lot of the characters from this film, I was more invested in than the last Scream movie. Even though I liked it, I was more invested with these characters, and just the killings was a little bit more like brutal, like stab, 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 and it was just crazy. Like, there was a lot of deaths in this one. I was bummed out with the sheriff, right? The sheriff, the mom, that she ended up dying. She was in this fourth Scream movie, and I liked her. She was a little like, I don't know, dopey, I guess her character. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to offend anybody, but she ended up dying, of course, and her son, and it's like, yeesh, there goes two family members down. And then the big kill would be Dewey, but I will say I expected his death from the trailer. When they showed Courtney Cox's character, Gail Weathers, when they showed her in one of the shots where she's like, emotional, like she just saw somebody that died, and I already immediately thought that's Dewey's, he's dead. Like, you don't have that reaction unless it's somebody that you're emotionally invested in, and you're like, this did not just happen right now. Usually, whenever they show her, it's her like shocked and screaming about something. But that shot in itself, that was in the movie as well, because he had gotten killed, I already had put it that has to be Dewey's dead. So I wasn't shocked that Dewey died. It sucked that he did die. I felt like we could have gotten more Dewey, at least in the next film, if they do a next film, and I'll get into that discussion as well. But I just felt like the way he went, like he was just where he was, and he decided to help, the girl and whatnot, and him dying, it turns out that he had like a shitty, life after the third or fourth movie. So it's unfortunate, but there we go. Another character is dead. And I still think the worst character death is, of course, Jamie Kennedy's Randy. But I like that they still had him within the film, as the, you had his niece and nephew, the twins, and then you had like the shrine of him. And just the idea of, the meta, and that's all Randy, and I thought it was pretty cool. Again, I liked all the characters. It kept me like, this is probably the killer, this is probably the killer. This is too obvious, and I should have known better. I should have just stuck to my gut with it being Jack Quaid originally, but it wasn't. I mean, it was him, and I decided he wasn't it because, he was the nice boyfriend. And isn't it always the boyfriends the killers? But yeah, so, at least in the Scream franchise. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked the beat of it. We didn't get so much Neve Campbell, her Sydney, and she really isn't the main focus of the film. But I like how they handed that pass the torch kind of thing, or just like, even if it's not passing the torch, but just the idea like, hey, I'm here, I'm still a part of the franchise, but this isn't really about me. We have Billy Loomis from the first movie, one of the killers, who was dating Sydney in the first movie. His daughter apparently is in this film, and the idea is that she's haunted with the concept that her father was this murderer, and she doesn't want nothing to do with that. So I was out of nowhere. It's like, what? Billy has a kid? Like, how? And, they explain it. He could have been involved, obviously, with somebody and slept with somebody before Sydney. But, yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool because you did get to see him again, even if it was just like her hallucination. It was a little weird at first because that's not something that I remember. I think they did that in the third movie, and I didn't like it in the third movie with Sydney's mom, how she was like a hallucination. So they, kind of brought that again, even more so with Billy Loomis' character. But, it was a little weird, I will say. I wasn't too fond of it, but I get it. I understood it. It didn't bother me like that. And the only thing I was a little confused was when she's, she's trying to struggle away from Jack Quaid's character from killing her. She looks at the mirror and she sees Billy Loomis, and he's like, look at the knife. And I'm like, well, he's not a ghost, so how, is he even, why is that even a thing? It just felt weird. But a friend of mine mentioned that it was more so like a subconscious thing, kind of telling her, like, she might have seen it and, just didn't pay attention to it, and then her subconscious is like, look. So, but, through him, they did that, the hallucination of Billy Loomis. So other than that, I did like Scream 5. If I have to put it on my list, the first, I have my list, it's 5 movies. I like the first Scream as number 1. The fourth one was number 2. And I'm probably going to go with the fifth one being number 2 now, dethroning number 4. And then it's 2 and 3, Number 1, it's the best. I remember when I first saw it, I was, I think, in junior high school or high school, and I saw it with family in my living room, and I just really enjoyed that film. And I will still see the first one till this day, more so than the other ones. I can see the first one consistently, but I was just like, oh wow, this is awesome. I want more. And I will say, after the first one, each film, I did like them, but I just still felt like they just can't beat the first one. Like it's missing something, and it was just like, they're not as great. But, I still enjoy them. I'm still looking forward to Scream 6. I thought, honestly, that Stu, the character played by Matthew Lillard from, the first movie. Love my iced coffee. I really thought he was going to come back and have been involved as being one of the killers, if not directing the killers to haunt Sydney. But, of course, it wasn't about Sydney. And honestly, I feel like if they really wanted to give Neve Campbell one more movie and her character one more movie and really be involved, I feel like they can bring back Stu for that, because I really want to see him again, especially because in the third movie, or the original script for the third movie, if you haven't already heard about it, he was supposed to be in the film, in jail, but behind the scenes directing these killers, to do his thing. He had followers, and it would involve, school killings. But at the time, Columbine happened. The Columbine massacre happened, so they scrapped that idea and they gave us the third film that we got. So, excuse me. That tells me that Stu never died. I still think he's alive, even if they didn't, go with that idea for the third film. Apparently he died. I mean, he lived. He didn't die from the TV that fell on his face. So I feel like if they really wanted to continue the franchise and really have that interesting notion for people to return, they have the idea of Stu is back, and his character's nephew in Scream 5 apparently is the guy that got killed in the parking lot after when he was in the bar trying to talk to the girl, the girlfriend of the Randy's nephew. Apparently that guy that was trying to get with the redhead, he is the nephew of Stu, I believe. So if they wanted to play that idea that Stu hears that his nephew died, maybe he might in some way want some type of revenge and try to take it out on anybody from Woodsboro or so. I don't know. They can do that, bring it back, still go with the idea that he's in jail, and or unless he gets out of jail for whatever reason. I don't know what they would have sentenced him if they decided that he's still alive and in jail, because you don't know throughout 2, 3, 4, and 5 if he's still alive. But they were cameos of Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy. Apparently they're in the party scene. You hear voices. Oh, somebody's old father or uncle or something like that is a line. Apparently I think that was Jamie Kennedy or Matthew Lillard, and they had lines that was saying, but you don't know who it is. And I think Jamie Kennedy was one of the actors that walked away, was walking out of the party. Little cameos that you don't know, but that's what I was hearing. I did watch Jamie Kennedy's review on Scream 5, and he doesn't say it's a review. It's just he speaks on it because he saw it and he apparently digs it. He loves it. So check that out on YouTube if you haven't. But I really like Scream 5. Again, it's 1, 5, 4, 3, and 2 for me. So if you haven't seen Scream 5 and you're hesitant, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. It's Ghostface is up there with Chucky and Freddy and Jason at this point. I mean, he has been, if you're playing video games like Dead by Daylight. He's one of those characters that you can play as a killer, or she is a guy and girl. Ghostface is cool, and I always wonder what kind of new character can we get, like a Ghostface and Chucky and whatnot. And, people would have probably said Jeepers Creepers, but Jeepers Creepers only had 3 films, and to be honest, the creator of that film, I believe, has controversy, and the way his writing is based off of apparently what he's his controversy is about. I forget. It might be involved with kid stuff and all that sexual things with kids or something like that. I forget. I don't want to say something wrong, but look it up. There's controversy with him. But yeah, I always wonder what could be the new face of horror now. So it's always cool. It's always cool to have this new face of horror, and hopefully that it continues to build and have a following. And Ghostface is it. Ghostface is a character you don't get tired of. At least I don't get tired of. So I like Scream 5. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. See the first 4 just to kind of refresh yourself, because it's been some time if you haven't really been going back and watching the films. I did see the films recently over the summer. Actually, I did see them again, but that was over the summer, and I just and that was last year, not this 2 years ago, not this past year. So my mind was totally out of it, other than the first movie, which I kind of remember more of. But I know all the killers. I remember all the killers of each film. So I'm over here slurring my words, and I'm not even drinking, other than iced coffee. So Yeah, no, but yeah, I really enjoyed Scream 5, and I hope they do a 6. And I would love to see, Matthew Lillard return, and hopefully he would like to return. Let's see what they do. I don't think it should end. I feel like it's a movie that can continue, or at least, give it some time and then do another one. It doesn't have to do it right away, because sometimes it's just better that way. Never reboot it. I think the whole Scream TV show that was on MTV was a good enough, kind of like a reboot of its own thing. I did see the first season recently, and I wasn't sure who the killer was until a certain point. I was already suspicious of the podcaster, the woman. Again, spoiler alert, sorry if you decided to watch it. Yeah, they don't have to reboot it because they came out with a TV show. I did see the first season only. I'm not really interested in seeing the second or third or fourth. I think there's 4 seasons. And it's not that I think it's a bad TV show. I just felt like, I don't really care for these characters. Really, I didn't really care for the characters. But I did enjoy the first season for what it was. I did get the idea of who the killer was. I was a little suspicious of from the get. And I decided to keep that, the person that I thought it was. At one point, throughout the film, I'm like, I'm gonna just go with this person, and it ended up being the killer. So yeah, if you haven't seen the TV show and you have you want to see Scream anything because you just saw this film and you liked it, check it out. I would say I think it's something that you should watch. Again, I don't really care for the characters, but I don't think it's a bad TV show to watch. And maybe I'll check out the second, third, fourth season. I'm just not the type of person to add on so many shows on my list. Right now I'm watching The Witcher, and I only just saw the first episode recently, really. And I'm also seeing, the Book of Boba Fett. So, we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. As always, please, again, make a comment. Let's talk. Keep it professional. And thank you. Till next time. Later.